Hello, everyone out there in Twitch TV land, and welcome to yet another Waystone Games live stream. I am Brad Pluto Ramey, the Assistant Community Manager here at Waystone Games, and it is Wednesday, and it is the second Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's the Coaching Gate. Every other Wednesday, we do this series called the Coaching Gate that we started about a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, where myself or George or one of our amazing devs like Scott Moore did Ferris Jungle last week, or 2 weeks ago rather. And we take one of our amazing community members and we kind of show them how to play a particular shaper or a particular role that we feel that we are okay at. The first week I taught Kinsu and taught a player how to do kind of the animation canceling / stutter stepping attack move stuff. And I look like I just woke up. I did not. I've been up for a little while. Second week, we had George showing off his famous, incredible Dibs plays, and then the third week we had Scott Zyrus Moore showing Ferris Jungle. And in addition to teaching those particular shapers, we are also teaching a specific kind of granular lesson. So mine being the attack moving. George is about laning. Scott Moore was about contingency plans and jungle routes. So like if your blue got stolen and you get there third, what do you do? Like, what are you going to do? Don't just sit there and cry about it. You got to do something. The lesson today is going to be Zalgus, and I will have a kind of focus on positioning, because Zalgus is really, really important because he has very long ranges, but he's very squishy. So if you put yourself in danger, you're going to have a bad time as Zalgus. So that'll be in just a little bit. But the first thing we always do on Wednesdays is talk to you guys about what's going on in the community, what's going around in the subreddit, and if there's anything special happening with the Dawn Chronicles, which it just so happens that there is. Not only is there a living lore vote going on right now, Knife in the Dark or Hammer in the Sun, hashtag Hammer Time is what I'm voting for. But today, something special happened in Case Now, which is Freya's home village. And this page is absolutely incredible. The colors are incredibly brutal and gorgeous. And it's weird how something can be so brutal and so gorgeous all at the same time, because Freya, she's not very happy. So Freya, as you know, bonds with the vitality of rage because she comes home, finds her village just burned down, destroyed, and here you can see her with her brother. And she actually uses her brother's axes, something I did not know before I started looking into the Chronicles a bit more. But she uses her brother's axes to fight. She bonds with the spirit of rage, and let's just say this kind of panel right here, she's not a happy camper. She's not a happy camper one bit. She wants to maybe kill Finmore, cut him into some pieces. And what is her joke in the game? I think it's like, what do you call Finmore with no legs? A good start, I'm pretty sure is her joke. So this is a pretty great page, and the things to come, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I wish it could be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday all the time so we could just release these pages, because I know you guys are as hyped as we are to release them. And I think you guys are very excited about what's to come. I always love the discussions that go on the Reddit about, you know, little things in the pages or what's coming, or discussions on like Finmore's personality. Like someone, I forget who it was down here I think at the bottom, Gojus was talking about after this page he just can't seem to justify Finmore anymore. I don't really know particularly why he got downvoted. I'll throw him an upvote because I think it's an interesting discussion. Like, he was talking about whether Finmore is just a straight-up psychopath or whether he's doing this very meticulously and very planned and very coordinated, and whether that makes him a psychopath or not. Like, it's an interesting discussion, and I really like that these pages are bringing that kind of discussion to the table, and you guys are reading into them literally, and you guys are noticing little things here and there. There was the page, like the kind of, I'll go back to it, the kind of peaceful page of Case Now that was last Friday. If I can go back to it real quick. Right here, people were noticing things like, oh, there's wolves carved in this bell, you know, because you know, a remote town like this just kind of, it's foreshadowing, and they could be attacked by wolves. Like, that's a real threat to kind of a remote rural town. And then they notice that this axe this is the axe that Freya uses. It's her brother's axe. Oh my gosh! Like, all these little things that Nick Cole puts in here is just absolutely incredible. And I also learned that this is like Freya's dog. I think it's like Mr. Bubbles or something. I don't quite remember. But one of her jokes actually talks about Mr. Bubbles and how he was a good dog. And here he is. That's him right there. It's Mr. Bubbles or Mr. Sparkles or something. I feel like someone's going to tell me the correct name of it. If Hunter is in chat or Chris Latois, one of them will tell me the name of this dog. But anyway, yeah, Donkey Chronicles, awesome. You guys need to check it out if you haven't already. He is super fun and just really well done by the entire team. Secondly, we have the note from the producer. So this is written by our lead producer, Dave Paradoxic Sarah, and he talks about test entering the Dawn Gate. Practice mode is finally here, bots and more. One of the things that he does mention, I love this art. It's so good. One of the things that he mentions in here is actually the where did it go? There we go. The EU server alpha. So, as many of you have seen in the client, there is a selection box for the EU servers right now. Hype train. I know the hype is maximum. So while some players right now are able to kind of queue up on those servers just because of an unintended bug, the large windows will be tomorrow, Thursday, July 31st from 12 to 3 p.m. PDT, or 9 p.m. to midnight if you're CEST, and the same time on Friday. So it's kind of funny because it's like we're going back to, if some of you guys have been around for a really, really long time, we used to do these small server open up windows on NA just to get some people in, test the game, test the server stability, all that kind of stuff. We're slowly going to be rolling out the EU servers in the same fashion, because we can't just be like, they're on, boom, because what if something goes catastrophically wrong? What if something happens that we don't expect? We need to do these small testing windows before we really give them to you guys. And to the people that have already somehow managed to play on the servers, I have gotten reports that it's an awesome experience and it's sublime and they're loving it. And we're really happy to bring that to you guys, because we want to thank you guys again for being patient with us. For the longest time, so many European players have said, oh man, it's a great game, but the ping is a little high, or you know, I would only play if the ping was better, stuff like that. So we're really happy to bring these to you guys. So if you're a European player, please, tomorrow, starting from 12 to 3 p.m. PDT, or 9 p.m. to midnight Central European Standard Time, play the game. Check it out. Queue up on the European servers. We want that to be an amazing matchmaking experience, as well as an amazing gameplay experience with a better ping for you guys. So help us test it. That's the important part. That kind of leads into our the next point I wanted to bring up. It says, thank you, Waystone, for keeping us all together. There's a lot of thought and a lot of discussion that goes back and forth of whether you want to fragment your players and have two completely different accounts on one region as opposed to another region, or we wanted to have them combined and let you just kind of queue up on your preferred region. We obviously decided to go for the latter, and we were happy to announce that. So essentially, if you're unfamiliar, your Dawn Gate account that you've been playing with for the past however long you've been playing, you will not have to make a new one on a European server. You can use that same one, so everything you've bought, everything you've earned, everything you've unlocked is still there, and you can just choose which server to queue up on at certain times at your choice. So like, if you're playing solo queue and you're from Europe and you just want to hit up the European solo queue, hit the Europe region, boom, European solo queue. If you have a bunch of friends in North America that you want to play with, you can queue with them, and they can either choose to give you the good ping and queue up on EU themselves, or you can queue up on NA with them. In addition, you can also vice versa. Obviously, North American players can play on EU, stuff like that. So we thought that was very important, so that you only have one account, and that account is your account regardless of region. So thank you guys so much again for being so patient and bearing with us. Oh, God, I don't even know what to say about this picture. This is Pretty Princess Twerp. It's pretty much the creepiest thing I've ever seen, but this is kind of what happens in our community and what happens on the internet, and I love it. I think it's hilarious. Pretty Princess Twerp is creepy on all levels. I actually don't want to stay on this for too long because it's creeping me out a little bit. This will be in my nightmares. But yeah, Pretty Princess Twerp happened. There it is. Again, you know, we had a patch with Tess the Sky Captain, not Tess the Bomber. That's her skin. On Tuesday, and we were happy to bring a myriad changes, including the update to kind of the front end client. Some amazing work done by our UI team, Minx, Alice Lowe, Eugen Lee, who doesn't have a dev name yet, I don't think, unless I'm wrong, and of course Ian Hetu, Bo Archer, all of our amazing UI artists that worked on that. It looks fantastic. We also released tests, and we also released practice mode, which people are happy about. You can finally play against bots and test your metal and stuff like that. practice mode games are required for any account created after the patch, so any account created after Tuesday the 29th, and also any account that has never played a match-made game. So even if you had an account created before Tuesday, but you had never match-made into a game, you are required to play one practice mode. I'm very excited about that. You know, I think it really just allows you to just familiarize yourself with the game before you're thrown into a PvP environment, because as we all know, 5v5 Dawngate is a competitive place, and it is a place where sometimes tempers can run hot. And if you don't know what a Spirit Well is, hopefully this practice mode will give you at least one game to identify. The tips will help you out and show you just what is new about Dawngate. And you'll go into a game just more informed, more educated, and you'll have a better time of it because of it. Let's see. There we go. We can have a Dibs announcer pack eventually. I just wanted to say this. We'll have announcer packs for every one of our shapers. The Dibs one, I'm sure, is going to be adorable, and I'm sure it's going to be incredible. Nikki Rapp did an incredible job with Dibs' voice, and also Moya's voice, if you didn't know. And I'm really excited for everyone's announcer pack. But Dibs, most specifically, I believe. Now that Zeri's out. Zeri I was super excited about for a long time. Carry Dibs is a thing. So George has shown this. George Zakent has shown this for quite a while, that Dibs has the carry potential. And I know there's a lot of Dibs running around there in solo queue, and just bear with it. It happens. He's super fun to play, super annoying to play against, but God, if it doesn't feel good to kill a Dibs, 100%. A further iteration of the Pretty Princess twerp. Okay, there we go. Oh my God. I love this cerulean heart tattoo. This is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. This is nightmare fuel, 100%. Raparta posted on the subreddit of who do you want to see duke it out in the Chronicles, which I think is an important thing. I really enjoy people speculating and getting excited for, like, oh, I can't wait till Ferris makes his first appearance in Dawngate Chronicles. That's going to be awesome, stuff like that. Or fights, or particular fights, like pitting people against each other. It's kind of the whole, like, Goku versus Superman comment, you know, who would win? We want to see, this guy wants to see Fenmore versus Stalus. I think that would be an interesting fight. But I also want to talk about being excited about just a character's appearance. I'm really excited about just the first appearance of Ferris. Who knows what it'll be? I think it'll be awesome. I can't wait for it. The first appearance of Vex. Who knows? I think that could be cool as well, and that could be potentially happening due to y'all's living lore vote for choosing a courageous heart in the Michaela vote. I also want to see Dibs. Oh my God, do I want to see Dibs? I want to see Renzo too. There's so many characters that I think, you know, you guys have recognized that we've put a lot of work into really developing these characters and fleshing them out, and I think it's less of like, I want to see Renzo in the Dawngate Chronicles because he's a cool character design, or, you know, because he's fun to play, stuff like that, but because of his attitude and his demeanor and, like, his personality, you know. And I think that's really, really awesome. You know, I think a MOBA character having such personality, so much personality that you want to see him, like, just talking in a Chronicles, even just being Renzo and doing Renzo things, I think is really, really awesome. And we're happy that you guys are just as excited as we are to see all that stuff. So thanks for reading the Dawngate Chronicles. Thanks for paying attention to the lore, because we have done a lot of stuff, obviously, to bring that to the forefront of our game. So thank you so much for appreciating it, because without you guys, it would fall on deaf ears, and obviously we don't want that. Just want to bring this up. So yesterday, after the patch, we realized there were some issues with the Rogue Spirit Stone of the Rogue, and also Harmony. And there were issues that were pretty game-breaking and pretty silly, but we were able to hotfix them very quickly. So I wanted to tell you guys, if you didn't see the post of the hotfix patch notes, or you didn't see this post or what have you, they have been fixed, so you may use them again and not feel too bad about it. Rogue was proccing on jungle minions, and since you're not seen in the jungle, if they don't have a ward on you, it would just continuously refresh and refresh and refresh, and it was kind of just providing a bad gameplay experience. So Rogue has been fixed, Harmony has been fixed, and we did that pretty quickly. It was a pretty quick turnaround for us, so we're happy to announce that. So there you go. Use Rogue, use Harmony, and have a good time. And then lastly, before we go into the lesson, there's a cosplay stream event. So Thor, one of our fantastic Team Waystone streamers and also resident cosplay guru, will be showing you guys exactly how to cosplay. After this stream, he'll start at noon or 3 Eastern. He'll be showing you how to find out how to make cheap but realistic armor, craft weapons, a nice AMA with his seamstress, and also how to gain confidence in starting out with your first cosplay. So as you guys know, we've announced that Thor and Noe, his girlfriend, are going to be coming to Gamescom with us, and they will be cosplaying. And he's going to be working on a Freya cosplay for Noe, Burning Vengeance Freya. I've seen some of the work so far. It looks like it's coming together nicely. We're super excited to have them cosplay. As far as I know, pretty much the first cosplay of Dawngate ever, and we certainly hope not the last. If you guys want to, try your hand at cosplay, I would really encourage you to watch Thor's stream after this. I will link you guys to it and point you guys to it. But I think it's going to be really, really awesome to learn. I've never cosplayed before. I don't really want to, but I think the artistic process that goes into it is very important and very awesome. So I think you guys should be excited about that. So that's after our stream, but our stream has to kick off first, so it's time for the Coaching Gate featuring Zalgus. I'll be teaching Zalgus, and I'll be teaching the importance of positioning. But first and foremost, we do have a student that I need to bring on. So let me give him a call on Skype. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see. I was having troubles calling him earlier, so let's see if he might have to call me. Here, I'm going to tell him to call me. Just call me. There we go. We'll get him in just a second. I make an amazing sheep. You want me to be the sheep in the Kel skin? Or the Kel? That'd be really interesting. Says he's calling. I don't see it just yet. I do not see it just yet. Pluto, you can only play Zalgus because you can play Kinsu and Vex well. Is it because of the positioning? I think that's the important thing. Where are you at in real life right now? I'm at the Waystone Games office. We are in the San Francisco Bay Area is where we are. Muzzy, you could do Varian. Yeah, I could see Varian. I don't know. Let me relog Skype. Alright, I'm gonna relog Skype real quick. We did try this earlier, so it should work. But I'm gonna relog Skype and see if that fixes our problems. I love Skype's noises. They're so iconic. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, Valentin. As a AD carry player, positioning is of the utmost importance. So Zalgus being one of the longest range, our spell range shapers in the game is positioning is of the utmost importance. So here we go. Let's answer this call.
Hello.
Hello.
All right.
All right, sweet. I think the stream should be able to hear you. They will confirm in just a little bit, but I think we're okay. But welcome to the Coaching Gate. Thanks again for taking the time to be coached, to be my pupil here for today's episode. At first, I would like you to introduce yourself. Give us your in-game name or your real name, whichever you prefer. Tell us your MOBA background, what got you into Dawngate, all that kind of stuff.
So my name is Josh. My in-game name is Sweetdiculous, and I come from League of Legends most recently. I played a little bit of Dota back in the olden days, but yeah, that's where I come from. I primarily played mid lane in League and whatever in Dota, so that's my background.
Okay. And what brought you into Dawngate?
An advertisement.
Okay, I see.
The character design looked really interesting, and I was looking for something new. So, and I tried it out, and I really like a lot of the systems. So, here I am.
Cool. So, I'm really happy, obviously, that you came over. I'm happy that you signed up. We're happy to have you. And so few wins under your belt, which is interesting because I get to do my best to mold you into a great player, which yes. I hope I can do by the end of this lesson. But what did you see the lesson post on Reddit and you were like, I'm just going to sign up for this and see what happens, or are you really interested? Like, is Zalgus a very interesting character to you that you want to learn?
Probably both. I mean, the first thing I do when I pick up a game is go see if there's a subreddit for it, and I saw that. And I was like, oh, well, that's the best way to learn a MOBA. So I thought it'd be a pretty unique opportunity. I mean, who doesn't want to be on a live stream, right?
Exactly.
And then, yeah, And then Zalgus is so far my favorite character by far, so I've been playing him the most.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll see if I can teach you a thing or two today. Again, thanks for being on. We are going to do Zalgus today with a focus on kind of positioning and how to position yourself well in a team fight. So I think I'm going to start the game first. We're going to be on opposite teams, and we are both going to pick Zalgus. We're going to go to lane, and we're just going to chill in lane for a bit. We'll farm. Obviously, being kind of a burst mage, a lot of your damage comes from spells, right? And we need levels first. So we're going to take the first few minutes of the lesson to just kind of talking, getting some levels, because that's obviously very important. Because what's a Zalgus without his full combo, right? He's nothing. He is absolutely nothing. So out of your 10 cups, how many games have been Zalgus so far?
Well, I don't know. I just left that page. I think it's been 7 or 8, and I think I've only lost 1 Zalgus game.
Well, there you go. You actually sounds like you have a pretty good win-loss ratio then. Have you been playing as a gladiator, tactician, predator, what?
I think it's been more or less a 50-50 split. I'm the kind of guy who just go with whatever the team needs. I like the idea of being a tactician and just focusing on harass, though.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not like I do it because it's the only thing left or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I chose gladiator myself. It looks like you did the same. I'm gonna turn my audio down a little bit just so people can hear you better. There we go. Okay. So Zalgus is a really awesome character. He has pretty much the longest longest range normal abilities in the game, right? None of his abilities have under a 1,000 range, right? Which is huge, and it makes it of the utmost importance to have good positioning, and it allows you to harass really well. For example, one thing that's unique about Dawngate is that ranged shapers all have the same range, right? In other MOBAs, one guy has this range and one person has this other range and stuff like that. So everyone in Dawngate, every range character has 550 range. And what that tells you pretty much is that all of Zalgus's spells are double that, right? So it's very easy for you to harass without being harassed back, assuming you can land your spells, because the most important thing about Zalgus is it's all skill shots. Like there's no room for error. It's not like, oh, I whiffed, but this is a nice big AoE that'll hit them anyway. It's all pretty precise, pretty accuracy dependent ability. So first, we're just going to kind of farm a little bit, get some CS, and get some levels, most importantly. I'm going to turn my sound down a little bit more. Just get that master volume down. Okay, cool. So it looks like you started with W, which is a good start, especially as a gladiator. W allows you to CS very, very well. The bonus damage that it provides is really, really nice to have. In addition to that, the reveal cone that you get with it just allows you to just have a little peace of mind. Be a little bit safer, because when you go into lane, one of the scariest things is like face checking the brush first, because if they made it there before you and they have CC, they have like a Renzo or someone with some good burst, then you're going to have a sad time, right? So W, a really, really nice start. Secondly, I like to get my Q, because really it's like your E is really nice damage, but it's super hard to land without already landing a Q, right? So I think W and Q is absolutely the way to start on Zalgus. You can choose whether you want to go Q or W first. It's kind of up to you. If you're in that early game, like invading, like team fight portion, it might be important to get that Q, because wow, you're already level 3. Damn you.
I shoved.
Because that five man chain can be like absolutely brutal in an early team fight, right? So now that we have our full combos, we kind of have everything we need. Now we can start talking about exactly what we're doing here. So I personally max Q first on Zalgus. I know that's kind of a contentious subject. Like, some people call me stupid, and they're like, why don't you max the E? That's silly. Why do you do Q? I like the longer chain time, because it does scale with the level of your Q. And it just allows you to lock down someone for a little bit longer, in addition to just more easily being able to hit your E, right? Because if they're chained down for longer, it's more guaranteed damage that you're going to hit pretty much everything else, and also more guaranteed that your lane partner or your jungler is going to hit everything else as well. The important thing you want to do when playing as Zalgus is always look for those chain opportunities, right? Always look for those places that you can hopefully nail someone with your abilities. The important thing is to synergize your Q and E combo with your W auto attack, because your W slows them and it just makes them an easier target for the rest of your abilities, because landing a Q on a max speed someone just kind of running around just like being crazy like that, a little bit harder to do. But once you get that slow on, then they're slowed, then you can hopefully land it and have a better time of it, just like that. So we both traded pretty evenly there. So always look for that auto attack before you do the Q and the E. The biggest, and that is just, I want to caveat that with, that's just the laning portion of it. Like when it comes to team fights, you're not going to be looking for the auto attacks as much because it puts you in the same range as an 80 carry, right? And that's not where you want to be at all, because 550 range is your auto attack range, and that's how you get your slow applied to someone. So only look for those auto attacks in lane. You can also kind of, as you can see, I'm kind of trying to bait out your skills, because I know Zalgus, once his skills are down, he's kind of a sitting duck. He kind of just sits there and takes things, right? But as far as like, oh, the blinks, it's like, let's see, the cooldowns of your abilities are 11 seconds and 13 seconds. So if I'm playing against an enemy Zalgus and I know those rough estimates, I usually give skills like 10 to 12 seconds. That's my opportunity to trade with him, right? That's my opportunity to go in and harass him a little bit, and he can't really trade back as effectively. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna.
One thing I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
What are good itemization choices like on your first back? Because I'm really new to the item system, of course.
Aggressions are really, really great. That flat defense penetration, that flat 15 defense penetration is really, really strong early game. And then the plus 30 power, like the 20 power. So when you upgrade from power to aggression rather, you get 20 power and you get 15 flat defense pen, which is really, really nice, because against squishier targets, the more flat defense pen, the better, right? Because penetrating defense flatly, I suppose, is better than penetrating a percentage of it if they don't have a lot of it. That's just kind of the rule of thumb, right? If you need to, like, it's also important, like, you can build against the lane that you're fighting. So like if I was against a double magic lane, I would pick up an early will, because the void passive, the stackable passive void, is really, really nice against a double magic lane, because every spell you take, you're taking less and less damage, right?
How do I tell what type of damage a person does?
It can either be like if you die to them, it's in your death recap. Alternatively, it's kind of just a matter of familiarity. It's kind of just a matter of like, I know that Amaranth is magic damage and Varian is physical damage. That's just what you know. That's just what you learn. Okay. So there are some shapers that are a little bit more like, a little bit more confusing. Like Volek is like, oh, he has a gigantic sword. He looks to be physical, but in actuality, he is not. He does a lot of magical damage. So building magic resisting against Volek is actually better than building armor against Volek. But yeah, that comes with time. Absolutely, 100%. So yeah, just looking for chains here and there, throwing them out. You don't always have to go for that auto attack. Like I said, if you can just feel like you can hit them with a chain, do it. One of the important things, one of the differences about Dawnggate is the fact that, since we don't have mana, you're not really losing a ton if you miss a chain. You're not like, welp, I won't be able to ever do that again because now I'm out of mana. That's one of the important kind of differentiations about Dawnggate that we like to boast, I suppose. But laning, yeah. You don't have any escapes either, which is very important to keep in the back of your mind, because like, you never want to probably go in very close to a cerulean lane, right? Because you're gonna get flipped and you're gonna die. But as far as like, what was I gonna say? As far as like a lane that can't screw up your positioning, like if you're not against a Cerulean, you can kind of afford to play up because you can lock them down. Like your only escape kind of is stopping their chase. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What would you say is a good use of your W in lane?
I like to check for ganks, so like just kind of throwing it towards Parasite, like in top lane specifically, throwing it towards Parasite or throwing it up kind of towards North Money Pigs is a good use of your W. Otherwise, you're not really going to get a ton of chances to use it, I suppose. Checking brushes is also important. Like one thing I like to do is if I know that they are like in my brush closer to my binding. If I know they're camping there, like Cerulean is kind of just set up a tent there, and I know that he's just trying to zone me, whenever your minions are coming, revealing him in the brush will cause your minions to attack him, right? And that kind of makes him want to get out of the brush. It makes him think twice about it. It also makes him take a little bit of minion damage. Like, minion damage is not something to shake a stick at. Like, it adds up over time, especially if he's, like, potentially out of potions, or he's, you know, or he's just doing it to be an ass. Like, revealing him and making him take that minion damage just kind of puts that little fear of you in him, I guess, and that's important. You want to have lane dominance, right? You want to show that you got to go into every lane expecting you're going to win. I think that's the important thing.
One question I had, I like to start W. You touched on that earlier. Do you think it's a bit reckless to use it to, like, you know, rush deep into the jungle and try and use it to sniff out where the jungler is starting?
I mean, it has a really big range. So, like, let me see. From like where can I reveal blue buff? Like, from like right here, I can reveal blue buff. You probably can't see me. Like right here, I can reveal his blue buff, and like that's really nice. Like, I don't have to put myself in too much danger. That's something that you can do. Like, if I'm going down here to ward here, I can also reveal his blue buff. And if blue buff is not there, or blue buff is there, it gives me both of those things give me really good information about the enemy jungler, because I know either he is not there, which is equally as important as seeing him. Does that make sense? Like
yeah.
Scott kind of covered a little bit in his jungle tutorial a few weeks ago, where knowing where the jungler is not is almost equally as important as knowing where he is. Because if I know he's not in the mushroom side of in the side of the jungle, I know he's either like in the Ugger or the fish camp, which is he is either on one side of the map or the other. He's not in the middle, which is essentially located, like, he can go to either lane portion. He is in the either top or bottom portion. Does that make sense, kind of?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'm sure you're familiar with the concepts. Like you said, you're not a new MOBA player. You're just a new Dawngate player, specifically. Yeah. But yeah, as far as itemization is concerned, aggressions are very good. They also have the 15%, not 15%, the flat 15 defense penetration does stack. So getting multiple aggressions, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially if you want to go for a destruction maybe early and get a rage late, because rage is obviously a little bit better of a late game penetration item because it is percentage penetration. Percentage penetration just becomes more useful as the game goes on, assuming that people are building the magic resist or the armor or what have you to counter your specific character. Let's see, what else is there?
One question I had is, I see Chaos, I think it's Chaos, is a recommended item. Why is that such a good Zalgus item?
So Chaos is a great item because the Chain Lightning passive. So not only does it give you 40 haste and 20 mastery, which is giving you cooldown reduction as well as spell overload, which is kind of something unique to Dawngate as well. So mastery is a stat, I don't know if you're familiar with it, that gives crit chance to range carries, and it gives or any kind of basic attack person archetype, and it gives spell overload to mages. And what spell overload is, it means that your spells are going to deal additional damage every time they deal damage. So the more mastery you have, just literally the harder your spells are going to be hitting every time you use it on someone.
Is it like a flat bonus or a percentage?
It's a, I want to say it's a percentage bonus. So your abilities will just overload for an additional look. We can actually look at it in the stats somewhere. Yeah. So all Shaper's abilities gain it's percentage, so 0.5% damage from overloading per point of mastery. So 2 points of mastery, your spell is going to be dealing an additional 1% damage of its total damage, right? So mastery is a great stat on a burst mage like Zalgus. Like, it just lets you hit that much harder. And then Chaos itself, the Chain Lightning proc, increases the magic damage that the affected target takes by 10%. So, like, when you do your normal kind of QE combo, QER full burst combo, your Q will proc the Chain Lightning. Actually, your W, I'm almost positive, can proc the Chain Lightning portion of it. But your Q will proc it, and then your E, they take 10% increased damage, and you're overloading the whole time. And then your ultimate will just obliterate them. Because this is pretty much like, it stays on them for 3 seconds, and your whole combo should presumably be fired off in less than 3 seconds. And so your entire combo is an extra 10% damage in addition to all of your power, in addition to all of your mastery, in addition to all of your spell overload and stuff like that. So like a full combo, if I can just hit you with it real quick, it should be as quick as like that, right? Like that is super quick. That's probably like 2 seconds right there before they take the full brunt of your damage. And most squishies will be just absolutely obliterated by that. Like, I just did that to you. I don't have a ton of items. I've got, 2.2k Vim saved up. If I had gone back and bought, if that was in the middle of a team fight when you've already taken other sources of damage, you would just be wiped off the face of the earth, right? And that's my job as Zalgus, as a long-range burst mage.
So another question, Zalgus specific. When you land a Q and there's more than one target, it puts chains on people?
Yes.
And so it splits the damage amongst all targets that don't get hit, right?
Yes.
So I guess this is probably a really technical question, but for Chaos, the Chain Lightning, are they counted as getting hit, or is it like an iterative calculation?
The Shapers, all the Shapers are shared damage, but only from my attacks and abilities. So I'm almost positive Chaos damage itself is not shared.
So item damage wouldn't factor in.
Yeah, this is just the damage that my abilities deal in my auto attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, Chaos, I'm almost positive the Chain Lightning does not share between linked Shapers. Also, the cool thing about like laning a Zalgus that I really like is the fact that if 2 Shapers are linked, they share 100% of the damage. Right, so like if you're able to hit an enemy with your chain and chain their lane partner to them, all the damage you put on one will be 100% carried to the other. Right, so that in my mind makes Zalgus a perfect person to play in the lane against 2 Shapers. Like once maybe the jungler comes in, or once maybe someone roams in, he becomes less effective almost per additional Shaper in the lane, right?
For like instantly killing someone. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in a team fight, like he is still just as brutal and just as deadly and just as effective. But in lane, I think is where he really, really shines. Like taking advantage of the, like if the 2 opponents are very close together, getting a chain on one, like focusing one of them, it's not important. It's not as important to root both of them with your chain, right? If one of them is just like standing still, like if one of them is just like sitting right here and the other one is like just north of them, like moving around, CSing well and stuff like that, hitting the one standing still gives you 100% free damage on the other one, right? So kind of pick your targets. Like if one of your lane opponents is like stupid enough to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm Zalgus, hitting them and chaining them to their friend is just icing on the cake, right?
Right.
So
now, does the chain break after one hit, or is it?
No, it does not actually. It breaks if after a few seconds, I believe. Oh, thank you so much. I'm getting a package delivered right now. I'll sign for it live on stream. Hey guys, this is me signing for a package. Boom. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the chains will break if a certain time elapses, or if they go far enough away from each other. So like we can't do it with obviously 2 people in here on different teams. But if they do walk far enough away from each other, then the chains will break automatically and they will no longer share the damage. And that's an important thing to note when playing against Zalgus, because the kind of scenario that I described, where like, let's say you're doing a super good job of moving around and avoiding chains, and your lane partner is just like stupid and he's taking every chain and he's linking you to him. It's important to know, like, as soon as that happens, you need to kind of break the chain as soon as possible. And in addition, there is also the added benefit of Zalgus chains, where like if someone goes out of their way to put distance between themselves and their linked shapers to break the chain early, then they may very well put themselves in a really bad position. And
Like
that's really, really good for you. Exactly. So like if someone chains me like here and I walk this way away from my team, I'm now 100% isolated for an ulti, for even another shaper on my team to like to assassinate that guy. So like if you chain my team like right here by this range minion, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to break the chain over here, but all of a sudden I'm alone and you have a Ferris on your team, like I am dead right here. Right? So it's not just the damage or the chain part of Zalgus's Q that is important. It's kind of the psychological, like, oh god, break apart, guys, we have to not stick together. It's the same thing, like the League analog is kind of like Malphite ulti. Like, you never group up when there's an enemy Malphite, because his ulti will just wreck you. But the and Zalgus kind of has the same effect. Like, fighting Zalgus in a choke point, like fighting Zalgus like over here by Parasite, like if you want to come over here, a Zalgus right here, like if your team is right here, or the enemy team is right here and you're Zalgus, oh my god, you're going to have fun. Like, this is the exact place you want to fight as a Zalgus. And it's the exact place you don't want to fight against a Zalgus, right? Because he will just obliterate your team. You will get chained, you will die, and you will have a sad time. Open areas are exactly where you want to fight Zalgus. Tight quarters are exactly where you don't want to fight Zalgus. Especially a Zalgus that keeps his range and keeps his positioning really, really well and keeps himself safe, right? And with that being said, you know, I do have a few clips that I do want to watch about positioning, kind of. It's a few highlights that I have. I'm going to pull them up. Go to my window. Okay, so I don't know if you want to pull these up at the same time and talk about them, but the first one we'll watch, let's see, is going to be, let's watch the so many resets, so little Omni. So this was a play I made a few months ago, where it was on stream, and Mianhe, one of our fantastic community members, stole an Omni kill from me, and I was very sad and upset about it. But the key that I wanted to watch before the Omni happens is the positioning. So I'm going to watch it once and not talk about it, and then I will go ahead and replay it and kind of walk through what I'm doing here. So here we go. And right there is where Mianhe steals my Omni, like a huge scumbag. But yeah, I did a really good job, and I'll talk you guys through it. But it is very much like I said, none of your abilities have sub 1,000 range, which is double the range of any range shaper. There is a point here where I get caught by a Salus Q, and it's not really the best thing in the world for me. I stasis when I don't really have to. But as far as the positioning in the fight is concerned, I think it's a good example. So going through it, and I'll be kind of pausing it as we go to explain what's going on. So right there, I just got vision of Reyna, actually just north of us. So I know that I want to kind of start moving down. Knowing where you are relative to the enemy team is one of the most important parts about kind of capitalizing on positioning and stuff. So I know Reyna is above me. I know her ultimate can absolutely not obliterate because it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can really turn the tide of a team fight. So I'm trying to stay separate from my Michaela and Mara as much as possible, and Salas. I'm throwing out Qs just whenever possible. Let me actually go back to the base in this game so we don't have sound effects in the background. One sec. Boop boo. Okay, let's go back to the clips. Wherever it is. Okay, so I'm throwing out Qs and Es as much as possible. I'm not really looking for a lot of auto attacks here because putting an auto attack means I'm in range of the enemy Michaela. And if she trades with me with an auto attack for auto attack, she will win 100% of the time, right? Because she is the range carry. I am the squishy burst mage. So I'm throwing out Qs and Es as much as possible here. Reyna does come in. This is where Salas hits me with a nice Q, and he decides to follow up on it because I am effectively the closest person to the enemy team right now, and since I am the squishy mage, it's a perfect opportunity for him to go in. So he throws in at the same moment. Reyna is throwing her Wisdom's Reach. So they do a kind of bad CC stack, which is something you never want to do. You never want to, like, if someone's already rooted, wait till that root is about to run out before you do your own CC. And I mean, that's kind of just standard MOBA practice. Stacking CC just is the least efficient way of using CC because I'm already rooted right here and I'm stunned. When those both run out at the same time, they have no other way to really keep me down. So I do Dispel a little bit late, but that's quite all right. The Salas ulti doesn't quite stun me. Instead, it just slows me because I'm out of that kind of epicenter. Michaela begins ulting me right here. I stasis a little bit late. I probably could have honestly stasis a little bit earlier if I wanted to stasis at all. And this entire time, I'm kind of kiting backwards. I get a nice chain on the Finmore. Reyna is the one that's going ham. She's doing the correct play for her team. She's being the front line. Right now, she's effectively zoning out 4 people from the fight. Our Salas already went too deep and he is dead. So this is really a fight that's going decently for the enemy team, but I am trying to stay as far away as possible. I even use this opportunity to go around the rock while my abilities are on cooldown, like completely out of auto attack range, completely out of damage range of Reyna. They're retreating a little bit, and I use this opportunity to look at the range of my ulti. What I'm doing right here, I'm kind of sizing up my opponent. I'm thinking to myself, do I have enough to kill any of these guys with my ulti, and are they in range of it? And since Zalgus has such a long ulti range, the answer to the second question is almost always yes, they are in your range, but it's a matter of waiting till you can get that reset and deal that killing blow as well. So I fire off the first ulti here in just a second, kill Michaela with it, and now I have the reset. So Zalgus' ulti resets if you get a kill with it, and for the next 12 seconds you can continue to recast it as long as you keep getting kills. So the first kill goes to Michaela. I have a reset now. I'm looking for the second kill. I know that Zalgus is not in range of death, right? He has almost above 50% of his HP, and I'm not 100% sure I could kill him at this moment. So I actually position myself a little bit more to the right. You'll see me continue to walk down so that I can get the angle on Salas to hit him with the ulti. So there's the Salas hit right there. Zalgus makes it easy for me. He blinks out of the way just in case I would have hit him. So thank you, Salas. I actually like, Zalgus. Both of Zalgus' spells here, his blink and his stasis, actually helped me secure the kill on one of his teammates, which I think is probably the best part about the clip.
So you didn't intend to do that, right?
I 100% intended to hit Salas. Zalgus made it easy for me to do so. Because before, I may have hit Zalgus with my ulti. It's not 100%. Whether I would have, maybe. You can see kind of his blink spot right here. I think I may have been able to skirt him just a little bit. But at this point, Zalgus has taken enough damage from the shockwave that I think that I could potentially kill him with an ulti right here. So I fire this off expecting to kill Zalgus 100%. He does stasis it, and luckily enough, Finmore is standing on the other side of him. So I hit Finmore and obliterated him with the ulti. Stasis is one of those things where, like, it is a pretty good defensive spell, but the one thing I don't really like about it, and I don't love taking it, even though I have taken it in this clip, is the fact that it's so predictable where you're going to be coming out of, right? Like, I know that's kind of super obvious, but if you know the timing of stasis in your head, you can see I wind up my ulti such that as soon as he comes out of stasis, my ulti is hitting him, right? And that is super important for any ability that has somewhat of a travel time. If you can coordinate it such that as soon as they're out of stasis, they have no way to react to it. They have no way to respond to it, right? They will immediately get hit by whatever ability you're throwing out, whether it's a Zalgus chain, Zalgus E, Zalgus ulti, or really anyone for that matter with a ranged ability. So one more time, just going through it real quick, and then we'll go to the next kind of clip. I'm positioning myself away from the enemy team, away from their people that can catch me, Salus and Reyna. I don't do a good job of avoiding the Q. I take it here. Wisdom's Reach stacks on top of it. I do stasis, probably a little bit of an unnecessary stasis, but that's quite all right. I keep as much distance as I can in this fight. I'm trying to stay as far away as possible, judging the range of my abilities, judging the range of my ulti. As soon as my skills come back up, you'll see me using them, assuming they're in range, but they're not quite. So I keep firing off my ulti. There's the triple, the tetra, and then the stolen Omni from Mianhe. You scumbag. Do you have any particular questions about how that fight went down or anything that I did there?
Oh, no, I meant when he hit stasis, if you had intended to, if you were aiming at him or the guy behind him.
I was aiming at him 100%, and it just so happened, again, that Finmore was on the other side, perfectly aligned with it. So my intent was to kill Zalgus. Had he stasis and Finmore not been behind him, I wouldn't have gotten the reset, and I would have been a sad panda. But I got the reset, so we'll call it worth, right? This next clip is a fight that happens under the binding. I'm going to let it play, and then I'll go back and talk about it just like I did before. So we'll check this out. All right. So what's happening here is Freya diving a little bit deep into our team. She gets caught out. She does do a good job of using her W to get out of this fight again. But then I am again kind of going back to the first clip. Like, you always have to be aware of your positioning as well as relative to the enemy team, right? So I know that right here they're lined up such that Freya is in between Vex and King of Mass. I don't have a line of sight right now to ulti Freya. Vex is 100% blocking Freya. And while killing Vex, like while using my ulti on Vex might kill him, I don't think it would at this point, in all honesty. I would rather get the reset on Freya. So I start moving left. You see me issuing move commands to the left so that I can put myself perfectly in between and kind of make that field goal of Vex and King of Masks. I hit Freya with a nice, really long-range ulti. I followed up with another reset on the Vex, and then I wish I had gotten this Tetra kill on King of Masks, but it's okay. My team picked it up, so that's quite all right. So kind of again, the importance of just knowing where you are relative to the enemy is 100% the right thing to do when you're trying to position yourself correctly. As a range carry, it's a little bit different because you can use... It's a little bit harder, honestly, as a mage, in my opinion. Because as a range carry, your perfect position is your auto attack range, right? Like, wherever you are at max auto attack range, that is where you want to be in a team fight as a range carry. Because you want to always be auto attacking the closest target to you. And a lot of people give people flack about, like, why are you attacking the tank? What are you doing? But as a range carry, as long as you're right-clicking, as long as you're auto-attacking, you are doing it correctly, regardless of who you're hitting. If you have the opportunity, if, like, the Fed Cerulean and the Squishy Mikella are both in your auto-attack range, absolutely, you should be auto-attacking the Mikella, right? But if the Cerulean is your only person in range, you need to be auto-attacking them. As a mage, in my opinion, it's a little bit harder because you can't rely on just attack moving into the enemy team because that puts you in auto-attack range, and that's not where you want to be. You have to be more aware and more familiar with your spell ranges than your auto-attack range, which is harder to do because it's different for every character. Like, the auto-attack range, it's very similar. I know precisely where, or approximately where my auto-attack range is for every range character because it is the same across the board. But keeping to max range of Amaranth E or ulti as opposed to Zalgus Q or E are two completely different things, right? So just that comes